Hello there, mate. Welcome to Quiz Dance, a podcast based on LGBT community. Through this podcast series, we are going to discuss in details about topics which are trending in our community. We're going to talk about important news which might impact our existence altogether. We're gonna listen to inspiring stories and witness mind-boggling interviews. So, my name is Neville Nazareth, and I will take you through this entire journey in this season. So, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so that you could be notified every time we have a tea to spill. And thanks for clicking on this podcast, and see you soon with a fascinating topic that is sure to make you realize that your whole life was a lie. So, as you would have already seen in the title of today's podcast, we're going to discuss about why are majority of LGBT kids victim of pedophilia. We also going to discuss about Amir's story and how was he involved in this act, and we're going to end by giving you a hint on what we're doing next. So, please do listen to the entire podcast and don't forget to share it with your friends and family if you like it. So I'm sure that every individual who once was a kid and belonged to the LGBT community would agree with me when I say that childhood is tough, man. It's difficult. You know, you have to be careful about so many things, people not finding out, you being confused about what you are, and etc. and etc. So what happens is that during this stage there are a few people who notice these things and they realize that, oh, this kid is facing some problem with his sexual orientation. Oh, there seems to be a gender dysphoria with this person. And what they do is that they try to take advantage of these kids. Now, pedophilia, we all know, is getting sexually active with kids, being sexually attracted and actually acting out over it. And there was this controversy not a long time ago where pedophilia was supposed to be added as an acronym in the LGBTQ community, but then a lot of people objected it, saying that that is not a sexual orientation and hence it wasn't added. So what these pedophile people do is that they always target these kind of individuals who from the LGBT community, because they know that these kids are already scared about being themselves and they always try to repress the feeling in the first place. So they will also be scared to share this incident with anybody else, and that's how they become an easy prey for these people, and that's how a lot of LGBT individuals get involved in pedophilia. So now, the solution to pedophilia basically is that parents need to be more connected with their kids. First of all, they need to be open minded and they need to make sure that they create a safe space for their kids so that they can come to them and speak about anything and everything. In pedophilia, it has been noticed that majority of the time, people who are sexually molesting these kids are their relatives or close friends. So we need to have a close look on people our kids are meeting and talking to. If they are trying to get too friendly with somebody, if they are trying to run away from somebody, these are few of the hints which can help us understand that there's something fishy going on around this friendship or relationship. So that's the right time when you sit with your kid, talk to them, ask them what are they going through. So now what I understand that it's not a very good time for kids to know about sex and all that, because you will tell them about this once they're of the age. But when they are kids, it's important for them to know what their private body parts are. What is a good touch? What is a bad touch? When are they supposed to report if somebody is trying to touch them in a wrong way or talk to them in a dirty way? These are few things which kids should know about, and they should have this transparency with their parents. They should have this trust and bond that they can directly walk to their parents and talk to them about something happening to them, maybe in their school or at their neighbor's house or in their relatives. And it's the parents' responsibility that whenever a child is coming and talking to you about these things, you should take it seriously, you should take it under consideration and not just think that the child is trying to make something up, because he would be threatened by the other person also, and then he might not have a proof but he surely has a point. So, as we discussed yesterday about Amir's mother finding out about him dressing up like a girl and dancing, and then he was beaten. and he was warned to never repeat this incident again. And I did tell you that after that he became very dull and it was difficult for him. So now, what happened during this time is that he's tried suppressing all his emotions, everything. He tried becoming a normal kid. So now, this incident which happened with him, which we called the criminal act, was when he was going with his family friends for a small vacation. So they were supposed to visit few of the exclusive destinations which were known for their religious value. So we'll not name those religious value, but then I can tell you that it's like a huge temple which is in a city which has, I think, summer in the afternoon and winter at night. So best description, and you get amazing grapes there. So now when he went to this place, so they decided to stay in a dharamshala, because why not? You can save a lot of money, at the same time you get to stay with a different community, get to experience new thing. And Amir wasn't actually interested in going to this, but he was forced by his family, and he decided that rather than staying home, it'll be an adventure. So he went to this trip. So at that point in time, the trip seemed great to him because he had an opportunity to be away from home and get to explore a new arena altogether. So initially the trip was amazingly well, everything was planned, so no problems on that end. They reached to the destination, the Dharamshala, and then they decided to change, rest for the night, and explore the city next day. So, as any traditional dharamshala would recommend people to stay as per their gender, like guys had their different dormitory and girls had their different one. So, Amir was in the guys' dormitory with other men, and he had to share his ward or his room, whatever you call it, with the relatives of these family friends he'd gone with. So everything seemed normal. He decided to take a corner and he went and he slept. So it was around 12:30 at night, and suddenly he realized that somebody was trying to get close to him. Now, Amir, having his own bedroom since childhood, was very comfortable sleeping alone. He did not like company. So this felt a little awkward to him because somebody was trying to get closer to him and he wasn't liking it, so which disturbed his sleep. And he was still pretending to keep his eyes closed because he didn't want to disturb others who were sleeping in the room as they were complete strangers. So after some time he realized that the guy who's sleeping next to him, he's trying to come closer and closer. He's trying to get awkwardly close. Now others in the room were fast asleep is what he suspected, because otherwise this man wouldn't be doing what he was trying to do. And Amir had no option rather than keeping quiet because he did not feel comfortable creating a scene around there because he was with complete strangers and he didn't know how people would react. So things got nastier and nastier. The man tried to actually molest him. That's the right word. So he tried to damage his body, like squeezing things very harshly, trying to wake him up, but then he was still trying to pretend as if he was asleep. So he covered Amir with a blanket and then he tried undressing him, wherein Amir was being a little resistant. He did make him realize that he was awake and wasn't comfortable with him. So what this man did was that he took his hands and he put it around his mouth so that Amir couldn't make any noise. He somehow tried undressing him and he tried having a sexual intercourse, but obviously it wasn't possible because there were others in the room and Amir was very much a virgin by then. He wasn't even aware of the whole concept of sex by then, so which made it impossible for him to have an intercourse. So somehow he still tried doing some things which Amir couldn't understand till today, and at the end he left Amir all wet and he went off to sleep. So now the next morning when Amir woke up, he did not know what happened the last night because most of the night he couldn't sleep because of the incident which occurred, and the man who did it was just sleeping next to him. So he kept thinking whole night what happened with him. He couldn't understand what he's supposed to do. He didn't know whom to speak to this about. So still he decided that he'll speak to the lady who was entrusted to take care of Amir. Now when Amir spoke to her, she tried to make Amir stop talking about it and asked him not to share the story with anyone. She told him that if Amir tries to do this, then she will make sure that she shames Amir everywhere. She'll spread another rumor saying that Amir wanted this to happen, etc. Which was very scary for Amir because he's recently had this incident with his mother wherein she's asked him not to do anything weird, and this would actually elevate the topic, and then there could be a possibility he could be beaten up by his family members. There could be a lot of repercussions to it, so he decided to keep quiet, and he never could report it to anybody. So this was one incident which was actually impacting him for a very long time. But then, thanks to counseling, thanks to talking to close friends, he recovered, he became better, and now, so that he can make sure that somebody else does not go through this, he wanted to share this story so that if you are one of those people, or if you know somebody who's been molested like this, please go ahead and report to the right person, because if you choose the wrong person to report it, it's going to make things worse. And always remember, it's not your mistake, it's never your mistake. So thank you so much guys to listening to today's episode, and in tomorrow's episode we're going to discuss about one thing which is important for LGBT community to understand and accept and execute, but usually they do not do it. So think about what it is, and we'll tell you about it in our next episode, that will be the third episode. So thanks for your time and love you all. Bye bye.